When you've been with someone for more than a decade, you start to notice the little shifts, the pauses in conversation, the slightly longer silences, the way their eyes dart just a little too quickly when a name comes up. That's what tipped me off with Emily. My wife had always been transparent, almost painfully honest, and that's one of the reasons I fell in love with her. But lately, there was a hesitation in her tone, a delay before answering questions that used to require no thought. And the biggest change was the name, David. David was supposedly just a colleague. They had worked on a project together 2 years back, and from that point forward his name came up far too often for my liking. He was funny, easy to talk to, someone who understood the pressures of work. I brushed it off at first, because I trusted her. But trust has a way of eroding when suspicion creeps in. The breaking point came one evening when I noticed her scrolling through her phone, a little smile tugging at the corner of her lips. It wasn't a laugh at a meme or a quick reply to her sister. It was softer, private. When I entered the room, she locked her screen instantly and shifted the conversation. My stomach sank, but I said nothing. A week later, she told me she had a business trip to Milan for 3 days. It didn't sit right. Emily never traveled for work before. I checked the emails on our shared laptop, but there was nothing from her office about Italy. What I did find was a PDF of 2 tickets to Rome, Alitalia Airlines, booked under her name and David's. My hands went cold. For days, I carried that storm in my chest, waiting, observing, questioning myself. Was I jumping to conclusions? Was it some innocent coincidence? But deep down, I knew. So the night she returned, tanned and glowing, suitcase still by the door, I decided to ask her plainly. We were sitting in the living room, the lamplight casting soft shadows on her face. She looked refreshed, almost too radiant. I cleared my throat and asked, quietly, "Emily, did you go to Italy with David?" The silence that followed was louder than any scream. Her fork froze halfway to her mouth. Her face paled, and her eyes flickered, first to the floor, then to me. She opened her mouth, closed it again. And in that frozen pause, I had my answer. "Why would you ask that?" she finally whispered. I leaned forward. "Because I know. I saw the tickets. I know you weren't there for work. Just tell me the truth." Her lip trembled, and then came the tears, fast, heavy, almost rehearsed. "It wasn't what you think," she said. "Yes, I went with him. But it wasn't an affair. I just needed to get away. He offered, and..." "Stop." My voice was calm, colder than I felt inside. "Do you hear yourself? You went on a romantic getaway to Italy with another man, and you expect me to believe it wasn't an affair?" She buried her face in her hands. "I wasn't happy, Mark. I didn't mean to hurt you. I felt invisible. With David, I felt alive again." The words cut deeper than any confession of physical betrayal. She had chosen to feel alive with someone else, while I had been here all along, building a life for us. I stood up, pacing. Memories of our years together, our wedding, the nights we stayed up laughing, the times I held her through her struggles, flooded my mind. All of it now tainted. "Do you love him?" I asked finally. Her silence was my answer. I laughed bitterly. "You know what hurts the most? Not the trip. Not even the lies. It's that when I asked you that simple question, you froze because you had to decide whether to lie or tell the truth. After all we've been through, you couldn't just be honest." She reached for me, but I stepped back. "Mark, please. I made a mistake. It was stupid, reckless. It's over now. I came back because I want you, not him. But the thing about betrayal is that once the crack forms, the whole structure is compromised." Her tears didn't move me. Her excuses didn't soothe me. All I could see was the image of her walking the cobblestone streets of Rome with him, laughing, holding his hand, living the life that was supposed to be ours. "I can't do this," I said finally, my voice steady. "You chose him when you booked those tickets. You chose him when you got on that plane. You chose him every time you smiled at his messages. And now, I'm choosing myself. Her face twisted with desperation. So what? You're just leaving? After everything we've built? No, Emily, I said, my chest heavy but resolute. You left a long time ago. You just didn't bother to tell me. I walked to the door, grabbing my coat. Behind me, she sobbed, calling my name, but I didn't turn back. Because the moment she froze at my question, I knew the truth. And once you know, you can't unknow it. I stepped out into the night air, the chill biting but freeing. The house that once felt like home was now just walls filled with lies. And though my heart ached, I also felt something I hadn't in months: clarity. Emily had gone to Italy with David. And I was finally done pretending we were still us.